The first time I slid into a dress, the world felt like it cracked open. It was Halloween, and I in Cinderella's, drowning in frills and ribbons, chasing candy through a raucous neighborhood party. Too young to grasp the weight of it, I spun, and a wild, unnamed spark flared inside a rush that burned like home. I refused to shed that dress for days, clinging to its magic until Mom's soft laugh and gentle tug pulled it away. "Enough, love," she said. But that fire didn't fade. It smoldered, a secret I locked tight, waiting for the day it would blaze again. Years later, the urge resurfaced. Another Halloween, another storybook role Snow White this time. Mom fussed over my hair, brushing it smooth, dabbing makeup on my cheeks. As her hands worked, that same spark flared, stronger now, whispering that this was more than pretend. I didn't have words for it, just a quiet certainty that dressing as a girl fit me in a way nothing else did. At the party, I played it cool, laughing off the dress as just a costume. But inside, I was already plotting the next time. It wouldn't be for Halloween. 3 months passed before I found my chance. Heart pounding, I snuck into my sister Natalie's room and swiped a skirt and blouse. My attempt at dressing up was clumsy crooked seams, mismatched colors, but the mirror didn't lie. For that stolen hour, I felt alive, electric, despite the gnawing fear of getting caught. It was fleeting, but it was enough. That taste of freedom became a craving. I'd sneak more clothes from Natalie's closet. Her endless supply of hand-me-downs was a goldmine. A bra, a slip, a couple of skirts, some blouses, even 3 pairs of shoes that miraculously fit. Hiding them was another story. I shoved everything into a box under my bed, a rookie move that screamed disaster. The more I dressed, the hungrier I got. It was an addiction, each session bolder than the last. I'd prance around my room, heart racing, imagining what it'd be like to step outside, to be seen. Common sense kept me grounded barely. Natalie, 5 years older and blissfully unaware, never noticed her missing clothes. Mom, too, seemed oblivious, her focus elsewhere. I got cocky. By my early teens, I'd let my hair grow long, pierced my ears, and convinced myself I could pass as a girl if I tried. I practiced makeup in secret, smudging eyeliner and blush until I thought I'd nailed it. Delusional? Maybe. But in my room, staring at my reflection, I felt untouchable. Twice, I came close to stepping out. Fully dressed, makeup flawless, I'd hover by the door, pulse hammering, ready to test the world. Both times, fear clamped down hard, rooting me in place. I wasn't ready, not yet. Then, one evening, as I was peeling off a dress, the door swung open. Mom stood there, her eyes taking in the bra, the pantyhose, the earrings glinting in the light. My stomach dropped. I braced for a lecture, a storm of questions. Instead, she just said, "Get cleaned up, honey. Dinner's soon." And she left. I scrambled to erase every trace of my secret scrubbing off the makeup, stuffing the clothes back in their box. At dinner, I sat on edge, waiting for her to bring it up. She didn't. Not a word. Life slid back to normal, or as normal as it could be. But the ground beneath me had shifted. A few months later, Natalie graduated, turned 18, and vanished with her boyfriend, chasing dreams in some far-off city. Then Dad's heart attack hit, followed by a stroke that stole his strength, his voice, his everything. We had no choice but to move him to a nursing home. He was too young for this, we all were, but fate didn't care. The house felt hollow without him, just Mom and me rattling around in its emptiness. My secret wardrobe, my stolen moments of joy, they faded into the background. All I could think about was Dad, lying still in that sterile bed, his eyes the only part of him that still seemed alive. The old house was too big, too empty, without Dad's laughter echoing through it. Mom didn't need to spell it out. We couldn't stay. She listed it, and within 5 days, it was sold. We had mere months to uproot our lives. Packing was a blur of sorting through years of clutter, tossing out broken lamps and faded magazines, the kind of junk every family hoards. When we reached Natalie's room, I braced for Mom to clear out her clothes, maybe donate them. Instead, she packed every skirt, every blouse, into boxes with care, leaving them stacked in the corner. I didn't dare ask why. Part of me was just relieved those clothes were my lifeline, my secret. We moved across town to a smaller house, a fresh start that felt more like a surrender. I left my friends, my school, everything familiar behind. As the moving truck rumbled away, Mom and I followed, pulling up to our new place to oversee the chaos of unloading. She gave me the biggest bedroom, a surprise I didn't question. Then came another. Movers hauled Natalie's boxes into my room, along with her vanity, its mirror glinting like it knew something I didn't. My stomach twisted. Something was shifting, but I kept my mouth shut, too scared to probe. It took a week of sweat and swearing to make the house livable. One night, as we unpacked, I blurted out the question I'd been dodging. Why was Natalie's stuff in my room? Mom's answer was so casual it floored me. "So you can use them, silly." "What else?" I stammered, trying to play dumb, but she cut through my flimsy protest. "If you're going to keep dressing up, you'll need it all. Keep it, use it, or ignore it, your choice." Her words hung there, heavy with meaning. She knew more than I'd ever let on, and she wasn't flinching. I didn't push back. How could I? Natalie's clothes were a treasure trove, a chance to be the girl I'd only dared to be in stolen moments. Still, I hesitated. Mom had hinted before, dropping comments about wanting to see me dressed up, but I'd brushed them off, too nervous to reveal how much I loved it, how good I thought I looked. By the second week, she brought it up again, her voice light but deliberate. "I'd love to meet her. You know, the girl you've been hiding." My pulse spiked. I was already picturing it, the skirt I'd choose, the way I'd do my makeup. Her eyes sparkled, daring me to take the leap. "Go on," she said, settling onto the couch. "Change. I'll be right here." I didn't argue. The pull was too strong. In my room, I took my time, showering, then picking out a short blue skirt and a pale green blouse. Pantyhose hugged my legs, making them look sleek, almost elegant, and a pair of low white heels sealed the deal. I fussed with my makeup, added earrings, a swipe of lipstick, and checked the mirror. Not bad. But this wasn't just for me anymore. Mom was waiting. My hands shook as I stepped toward the family room, each step heavier than the last. I wanted to bolt, to rip it all off and pretend this wasn't me. But I kept going. Mom was reading when I entered, her head lifting as I froze in the doorway. Silence stretched, my nerves screaming. Then she gestured for me to spin. I did, feeling exposed, vulnerable, but her smile disarmed me. "You look nice, honey. With a little polish, you could be stunning. It's a skill, you know, being able to be a girl." Her words were cryptic, but I let them slide, too caught up in the moment. She stood, beckoning me to the vanity. "Let's fix this up. Makeup first, then hair." I scrubbed my face clean and sat, watching her work. Her hands were steady, guiding me through each step: foundation, blush, eyeshadow, until my reflection transformed. In 20 minutes, I looked better than I ever had, my features softer, more alive. Then she took a curling iron to my hair, coaxing it into loose waves that framed my face. The tight ponytail I usually wore was gone, replaced by something softer, almost delicate. "See?" she said, stepping back. It's all in the details." I stared at myself, heart racing, not just at how I looked, but at what this meant. Mom wasn't just humoring me, she was teaching me, pulling me closer to the girl I'd always wanted to be. I couldn't tear my eyes from the mirror, the girl staring back almost unrecognizable. Mom swapped the green blouse for a thin white top, and when I stepped back, a grin broke free. All those times I'd fumbled with makeup alone, thinking I'd cracked the code, I'd been kidding myself. Without Mom's touch, I'd have been a walking caricature, ripe for ridicule. Her guidance laid bare how little I knew about being a girl, But instead of shame, I felt a rush of possibility. I wanted to stay like this, to linger in this version of myself, but fear kept the words locked in my throat. Mom, though, seemed to read my mind. "I've got errands to run," she said, tossing me an old purse. "Put your stuff in it and meet me in the kitchen." My heart lurched. Leave the house? Dressed like this? It was everything I'd dreamed of and dreaded, a collision of thrill and terror. I stuffed my wallet and lipstick into the purse, legs wobbling as I joined her. She didn't wait, striding to the car, leaving me to muster the courage to follow. I darted outside, half crouching as she backed out, convinced every neighbor was watching. "Sit up," she said, her tone firm but kind. I obeyed, but my nerves stayed taut as we hit the dry cleaners and post office. I stayed glued to the car, safe in its bubble, until the drugstore. Mom insisted I come inside. Standing by the cosmetics aisle, her picking out foundation and eyeshadow for me, I was sure everyone saw through me. My hands shook, but no one blinked. To them, I was just another girl. Back in the car, I exhaled, thinking the worst was over. Then a cop pulled us over. Panic clawed at me. Someone had clocked me, I was sure, and now I'd be hauled off for daring to be myself. But the officer barely glanced my way, his focus on Mom. "Do you know Natalie?" he asked. Mom nodded, confused. "She's my daughter." "Why?" His words hit like a brick. "She's in jail, ma'am. Been asking for you. Your phone's disconnected, but I tracked your plate. Can you come see her? She's in serious trouble." Mom didn't hesitate. "We'll follow you." I gaped at her, horrified. "Mom, I can't go to a police station like this. They'll arrest me." She shot me a look, calm but unyielding. "You look perfect, honey. Act like a girl, and no one will know. This is about Natalie, not you. Oh, and we need a name for you. Chris won't do. How about Allie?" Before I could protest, it was settled. I was Allie, heading to a jail. The police station buzzed with chaos, gruff voices, shuffling papers, people slouched in chairs. Natalie's lawyer met us, his face grim as he laid out the nightmare. Natalie and her boyfriend had robbed a bank that morning. A guard was killed, and her boyfriend ditched her, leaving her holding the murder weapon. She was delusional, convinced he'd turn himself in to save her. "She won't tell the police where he went," the lawyer said, exasperated. "I've tried, but she's stubborn. Maybe you can get through to her." Mom went to see her, leaving me with the lawyer, my pulse hammering as I prayed no one would look too closely. An hour later, Mom returned, her face tight. "Natalie's clinging to the idea he'll save her, but I think reality's sinking in. If she talks, what are her chances?" The lawyer didn't sugarcoat it. "Not great. It's capital murder, death penalty in this state. She was there, part of the robbery, holding the gun when they caught her. Her only shot is cooperation, and even then, it's likely life without parole." He turned to me, his voice softer. "Want to talk to her?" I froze, ready to refuse, but Mom's hand on my shoulder stopped me. "Go, Allie. Tell her everything." My stomach churned, but I nodded, stepping toward the unknown. Every click of my heels, a reminder of the girl I was pretending and aching to be. A female guard led me to a stark room, the air thick with disinfectant and despair. I sat across from Natalie, her orange jumpsuit glaring like a warning sign. She looked hollow, her eyes dulled by defeat, but when she saw me, a faint smile flickered. "You've changed," she said, her voice soft. "For the better, I think." I barely registered the compliment, my mind on her fate. "Natalie, you have to cooperate. The lawyer says you're facing the death penalty." She tilted her head, ignoring my plea. "What do I call you now?" "Allie," I muttered, frustrated. "Nice," she said, nodding. "It suits you." Then she veered, her voice dreamy. "Sean swore he'd never leave me, said we'd be together forever, that he loved me." I scoffed, my patience thinning. "He's gone, Natalie, and you're here, taking the fall. He ditched you with the murder weapon. Why would he turn himself in when he knows what's waiting? You'll never see him again unless it's on a wanted poster. Don't be naive, he used you. Tell the police everything now, or you're done for. She sighed, straightening. You look cute as hell, Allie. Don't let reality kill your dreams like I did. If you want to be a girl, own it. Don't take crap from anyone. I nodded, then spilled about Dad his stroke. The nursing home. How he was trapped in his own body. The guard cut us off, ushering me out. The gray walls felt like they were closing in, and I was grateful to escape. Natalie was headed for prison, no question. Her life had always orbited dangerous guys, drawn to the thrill of their chaos. Sean was the worst, a walking red flag she'd ignored, running off with him despite every warning. I doubted she even knew about the bank robbery, let alone pulled the trigger, but she'd stood by while Sean acted. And that made her complicit. Our family was crumbling Dad a shell, Natalie caged, and Mom and I were powerless to stop it. Seeing her like that, after witnessing Dad's frailty, shrank my secret to nothing. Shamefully, it eased my guilt, like my struggles were trivial by comparison. That night, the house was a tomb. I stayed dressed as Allie until bedtime, lying awake, dreading what fresh hell awaited us. At breakfast, Mom's eyes were red, her voice cracking. It's just us now, Chris. Tears spilled, and she let them fall. I'm done caring what others think. Life's too short, look at us. If you want to be a girl, do it. There's no reason to hold back. My dream was within reach, but guilt gnawed at me. Was I exploiting our pain? I told her I'd think about it, torn between Dad's expectations and the pull of my truth. Why should I be the only one to get what I wanted when our world was in ruins? For days, I wrestled with the choice. School was 2 months away, and our new neighborhood offered a clean slate. Becoming Allie full-time felt possible, but daunting. After 3 days of agonizing, I walked into breakfast as her. Mom didn't blink, calling me Allie without hesitation. My makeup was a mess, my confidence shaky, but she sat me down, patient as ever. Less is more, she said, dabbing on foundation, powder, and a hint of lipstick. Girls your age don't need much. I wore faded jeans, sneakers, and a white top with blue flowers, my hair tamed by a headband. I looked decent, but nerves buzzed beneath my skin. With Natalie in jail and Dad fading, I was the only one chasing a dream, and that truth sat heavy, even as I stepped into the life I'd always wanted. Guilt gnawed at me, but I couldn't bring myself to shed Allie's clothes. They felt right, like armor I wasn't ready to abandon. Mom, bustling around the house, finally shooed me out. You're underfoot, Allie. Go outside. My stomach twisted. I'd never been out alone as a girl, and the thought of it sent panic spiking through me. I stared at the door, frozen. I'm not letting you hide inside forever, Mom said, her voice gentle but firm. If you don't want to go out as Allie, change. But if you back out now, you'll never do it. Is that what you want? Her words stung, daring me to choose. I met her gaze, her smile steady, and turned the knob. The summer air hit me, warm and alive, as I stepped onto the porch. I circled to the front yard, scanning the street. Empty. Heart pounding, I started walking, the freedom of being Allie sinking in with every step. At the end of the block, a new house was taking shape. Workers hammered nails, concrete churned. I paused, curious, when a girl my age emerged from behind a truck, her brown hair catching the sun. She spotted me, waved, and before I could process it, she was sprinting across the street. Hi, I'm Samantha. We're moving into this house soon. You live here? Her energy was infectious, but my throat tightened. Hi, I'm Allie, down the street. This is awesome, she beamed. I thought I'd be the only girl around. Gotta go, but we're here every day. See you soon. She hugged me, and ran back to her mom. I stood there reeling. Samantha would expect to see Allie again, maybe every day, and she'd be living here. How could I explain Chris? Lost in thought, I wandered the block, grappling with how to juggle 2 lives. I didn't hear the bike until it skidded to a stop, its tire cutting me off. A guy grinned down at me, all swagger. Just what I need another chick for my stable. I bristled. I'm not a chick, and I'm definitely not yours. Move. He laughed, undeterred. You're hot, babe. You'll come around. Ask for Troy. I'll be waiting. Don't bet on it, I snapped, shoving his bike aside and marching off. He didn't follow, but my nerves were shot. Samantha thought I was her new best friend. Troy saw me as a conquest, and neither knew the truth. Telling them felt impossible. Troy's type didn't exactly scream understanding. I spilled it all to Mom, expecting sympathy. She just smiled. It'll be fine, Allie. Fine? I retreated to my room, frazzled, and started trying on Natalie's clothes, my clothes now. If I was doing this, I might as well own it. Mom encouraged me to dress as Allie every day, calling it practice. You need to master makeup and hair on your own, she said. This is the best way. With few neighbors and my dream within reach, I didn't need convincing. I ditched Chris's clothes entirely, no tees, no jeans, nothing. Mom bought me more skirts, tops, and shoes, trusting me to choose. Her raised eyebrow told me when I missed the mark, but she let me learn. Days later, a knock jolted me. I opened the door to Samantha and her mom, all smiles. Hi, Samantha chirped. This is my mom. We wanted to meet you and your mom since we'll be neighbors. My heart sank. Who is it? Mom called. Samantha and her mom, I replied, letting them in. I was trapped in my shortest skirt, green and blue, paired with a white pullover hair in a neat page boy, gold earrings glinting. No way to pass this off as a joke, not when Samantha had seen me twice now. Our moms clicked instantly, disappearing to chat over coffee, leaving me with Samantha. She grinned, oblivious to my panic. School loomed, and with it, Chris's return. How could I keep Allie alive without everything crashing down? Samantha's eyes sparkled with mischief as we stood in my living room. Any boys around here? She asked. I haven't seen a single one. Maybe this'll be an all-girl street. I snorted. There's one Troy. Thinks he's every girl's dream. Lives around the block, I think. Total jerk. Her grin widened. Let's find him and set him straight. I hesitated, my stomach churning at the thought of facing him again. Come on, Allie, she urged. We'll mess with him. It'll be fun. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and against my better judgment, I followed her out the door. As we rounded the corner, Mom's voice carried from the kitchen. Allie's a special girl, Diane, she said to Samantha's mom. I wanted you to know up front. Diane's tone shifted, curious. Special? Is she disabled? No, Mom replied, steady. She's my son. The words hung in the air, but I barely registered them as Troy appeared, straddling his bike in the middle of the street. Tall, with spiky blonde hair and a single black leather glove, he oozed arrogance. His smirk grew as he spun toward us. I froze, but Samantha marched forward, undaunted. Heard you think you're hot stuff, she said, her voice sharp. Before he could respond, she continued. All I see is a loudmouth bully. Troy stood, towering over her, but Samantha didn't flinch. Stay away from Allie and me, or you'll regret it. I don't want to hurt you. He laughed, mocking. You? Hurt me? Keep dreaming, babe. You'll be in my stable soon enough, might even like it. In a blur, Samantha's hand shot out, and Troy hit the pavement, clutching his shoulder and groaning. Listen, asshole, she snapped. I've trained in karate since I could walk. Taking you out wouldn't make me sweat. Leave us alone. Got it? Without waiting for a reply, she turned, and I hurried after her, heart racing as we headed down the block. Back at my house, Diane's voice was incredulous. Your son? But Allie looks so normal. Mom's reply was calm. She's an average girl, Diane, just with something extra. She's been dressing up since she was little. After what happened to her dad and sister, we decided she shouldn't let anyone else dictate her life. Diane nodded. I get it. Allie's welcome at our place anytime. I'll figure out how to tell Samantha. Mom paused. Maybe we wait. Let Allie decide when to share. Diane agreed. Keeps us out of it. Probably better that way. I was still reeling from Samantha's takedown. She'd floored Troy, who outweighed her by half, and I was equal parts awed and terrified. If she could do that to him, what would happen when she learned about me? I needed her as a friend if I was going to keep being Allie, and that meant coming clean. We stopped at the next corner, watching workers hoist roof rafters with a crane. Steeling myself, I took a breath. Samantha, I need to tell you something. Don't be mad. She turned, curious. What? The crane whirred, and I blurted, I'm not a girl. Her eyes widened, but I pressed on, hoping she'd miss it and hear it all at once. She didn't. No way, she said, staring. I'd know. Boys can't look like you. My voice shrank. I do. I hope you're not mad. With everything my dad, my sister, Tears spilled, and the whole story poured out. Dad's stroke, Natalie's arrest, the pull to be Allie. Samantha listened, silent, then wrapped me in a hug. As we started back, she spoke softly. You're the first girl I've ever clicked with, Allie. I hate boys pawing at me, so meeting you felt like finding a soulmate. She stopped, meeting my gaze. You say you're a girl. I believe you. I don't care about anything else, as long as we're friends. Besides, how will I keep Troy in line without you? We hugged again, and as we reached my house, I felt lighter than ever. Samantha accepted me, and with her just down the street, I had a real friend, one who'd fight for me, and with me. Samantha didn't pry about how I became Allie, though I'm sure she had her guesses. Instead, she invited me to her old house to meet her friends. I wavered, my confidence shaky, but her insistence wore me down. Fine, I said. I'll go. By the time we reached my house, the weight of Troy's encounter had lifted, and we were just two girls again, giggling over the day. Inside, Samantha spilled the story of flooring Troy, sending our moms into peals of laughter. She and her mom mentioned coming back tomorrow for lunch and asked if I could join. Mom nodded, and I agreed, still buzzing from the day. After they left, I turned to Mom. I told Samantha. She didn't need clarification. I see. She doesn't seem to mind. Looks like you've got a solid friend. I hope so, I said, clinging to that spark of connection. That night, the TV blared grim news. Natalie had tipped off the police about Sean's hideout, but he wasn't there when they raided it. Then, as they were leaving, he showed up, spraying bullets from a machine gun. 2 cops were hit before the police cut him down 17 bullets, the reporter said. Natalie would face the courts alone now, and Sean's final rampage only deepened her hole. Mom's face mirrored my dread. She rose, silent, and slipped into her bedroom, her shoulders heavy with grief. I sat, numb. Natalie in prison, Dad trapped in a nursing home, even the nosy neighbor across the street. It all made my joy in being Allie feel hollow. The people I loved were gone, their absence a void that dulled the thrill of dresses and makeup. Mom was hurting worse, carrying the weight of it all, and I felt helpless. There was one thing I could do. I knocked on her door and stepped inside. Her eyes were swollen, tears streaking her face, the shame of Natalie's crime crushing her. Her dreams retirement with Dad, Natalie's kids, far-flung adventures were ash. And me, her son who wanted to be her daughter, meant no grandchildren, no legacy. Guilt whispered that my love for dresses had cursed us, a lie I couldn't shake. I hovered, unsure, until Mom opened her arms. I fell into them, our tears blending as we clung to each other, shutting out the world. We stayed like that, silent, knowing only we could shape what came next. Finally, Mom spoke, her voice soft. Allie, with Natalie in prison for this, the media will swarm us. I'm not sure they should see. I raised a hand, stopping her. If they see Natalie's little sister, what's the harm? Natalie told me to be myself. She'd back me up, keep my secret. Mom frowned. Your old school friends know it was just you and Natalie. If they hear about Allie, they might tip off the press. I squared my shoulders. Then I'll be the perfect sister. Or, if you want, I'll change right now and be Chris again. I love being Allie, but not if it hurts you. I started to leave, but she stopped me. No, Allie, you're not changing. We made a promise. If you can face the media as a girl, I'll stand by you. But you'll need to be tough, especially if they dig up the truth. If they do, you'll have to say something, or they'll never stop. We can't let them paint us as a broken family. She paused, then grabbed the phone. Can I talk to Greg? Thanks, I'll wait. Mom hung up the phone, her voice brisk. That was Greg, our lawyer, Allie. He can help us, but we need to be at his office in half an hour. Touch up your makeup and brush your hair. At Greg's office, Mom laid it all bare my truth. Our fear of the media's scrutiny, with Natalie's trial looming. The risk of me becoming the story. I braced for judgment, but Greg didn't flinch when Mom said I was her son. He leaned back, thoughtful. Your concerns are valid. If Allie were legally recognized, the media would have no angle, even if they sniffed out the truth. Right now, she's legally male fair game. We need to make her legal. He pulled name change papers from a drawer. These will establish Allie in the eyes of the law. If I get the right judge, one who owes me, I might even amend her birth certificate. The media would have to accept her as she presents. Schools would enroll her as a girl, though she'd take all the classes expected of one. If this is what you want, I can file Monday. Mom's eyes met mine, waiting. I nodded, heart pounding. Do it, she told him. She filled out the forms, naming me Catherine Elaine. We signed, and Greg shook our hands, warning us to dodge the press and funnel all questions to him. Signing those papers locked my fate. I was Catherine now. No turning back, no more boys' clothes. On the drive home, Mom suggested a beauty shop visit to cut and style my hair. I lit up at the idea, curious about what they'd do. 2 days later, Natalie was indicted murder, resisting arrest, obstruction for delaying her tip about Sean, whose shootout left 2 cops wounded. Her lawyer urged us to skip the trial's opening, so Mom booked the salon. Samantha and her mom tagged along, and Samantha and I pored over hairstyle options, picking a short, cute cut from a magazine. The salon was a sensory whirlwind shampoo scents, chatter, the hum of dryers. I showed the stylist my choice, and she nodded, washing my hair before snipping and shaping it for nearly an hour. Another woman filed and polished my nails with clear gloss. In the mirror, my new look soft waves framing my face felt like a revelation, undeniably feminine. After, Mom took me to a specialty shop for realistic breast forms, skin-toned and adhesive. They were small but transformative, their weight tugging my bra straps until Mom helped adjust them. I felt whole, grounded in a way I hadn't before. The next morning, I dressed carefully for court, a pale burgundy suit, skirt hitting mid-thigh, pink blouse, pearl earrings, and necklace, low black heels. Mom, in her sharp navy suit, looked fierce. We'd decided the night before to show up for Natalie's trial, a weightlifting with the choice. I was done letting others define me, and Mom backed me fully. We'd also visit Dad, who might not grasp it, but it would be his first glimpse of me as Allie. Court loomed, and with it, the risk of exposure. My old life as Chris could unravel if someone talked, but I steeled myself to be Catherine, Natalie's sister, no matter who watched. Dad's reaction, if he could even have one, was another unknown, but I was ready to face it all, determined to claim my life as my own. The day loomed like a storm I couldn't outrun, my deepest fears coiled tight in my chest, but I knew facing it was the only way forward. The courtroom buzzed, its polished wood trim and faint lemon scent doing little to soften the hostility radiating from the families of the fallen and wounded officers across the aisle. Mom and I sat near the front, ushered in by the bailiff. Natalie entered, manacled, her gray suit crisp, yellow blouse bright, a touch of makeup masking the exhaustion in her red-rimmed eyes. She stood tall, defiant, as whispers swelled and died with the judge's gavel. The trial began, raw and unrelenting. The evidence was a sledgehammer, undeniable, even as the DA conceded Natalie likely didn't fire the fatal shot. She was there, mid-robbery, and a death occurred. That made her guilty of murder under the law. Her lawyer spun a bold defense, but it crumbled against the facts. The trial was swift, the jury out for just an hour. I sat, absorbing every detail of my sister's crime, my heart sinking with the certainty of her fate. During a break, reporters swarmed, but Greg, our lawyer, shielded us, speaking while Mom's tears fell silently. My secret stayed buried, no one questioned the girl in the burgundy suit. The verdict was a formality. Guilty. The judge, acknowledging Natalie didn't shoot the guard, sentenced her to 35 years to life, 25 with good behavior. She'd be 44, her youth caged in concrete. Escorted out, we were unexpectedly led to the judge's chambers, the air thick with cigar smoke and lemon polish. "I'm sorry," he told Mom, his voice heavy. Natalie seemed like a good girl, but she chose the wrong path. I had no choice. He opened a side door, granting us half an hour with her, then asked to speak with me alone afterward. Natalie, hands free but ankles chained, sat at a table. We hugged, her smile faint but warm. "You look darling, little sister," she said. I clung to her, tears spilling for her future, a 7-text 12-cell for decades. "Never change, Allie," she whispered. "Listen to Mom." I didn't, and look at me. I left Mom with her and faced the judge, his baritone gentle as he held my name change papers. "Is this what you want, Catherine? You're so young." I nodded, recounting our family's unraveling dad's stroke, Natalie's fall, my lifelong pull to be Allie. He listened, probing once more to confirm my resolve. When I nodded again, he signed, handing Mom the order as she joined us. In one day, he'd shattered Natalie's future and secured mine. He pressed his card into my hand, offering his ear any time. As we left, I was legally Catherine Elaine, my truth etched in ink. Outside the courthouse, Samantha and her mom waited. I wanted to shout my new name, but Natalie's conviction tempered me. Instead, I told Samantha quietly, her hug fierce with joy. Mom suggested dinner, and over plates of pasta, I shared the judge's ruling with Samantha's mom, earning her warm smile. Natalie beamed, knowing I'd be her sister forever, a constant in her fractured world. She saw what I was only beginning to grasp. School was weeks away, and with the start of high school, the dance of teenage romance would begin. Boys would circle, staking claims. Girls, including me, would choose who to draw close or push away. I was ready, or at least I'd have to be. Being a girl was new terrain, and the idea of competing for a boy's attention felt alien, even unwanted. I wasn't sure I was ready for that game. After dinner, our moms drove us home, and as I undressed that night, a nagging worry surfaced. At school, girls would expect me to blend in seamlessly, which meant hiding Mr. Happy completely. Tucking had worked so far, but it wasn't foolproof. Tape? Too painful, too risky. I racked my brain for solutions, coming up empty. The next day, I crossed paths with Troy, his bully routine in full swing. I brushed him off and headed to Samantha's new house, where drywall was up, painters slapped on color, and tile guys worked the bathrooms. Distracted, I wandered to the drugstore, striding to the cosmetics aisle with newfound ease. Browsing lipsticks didn't solve my problem, but it killed time. Back home, still stumped, I broached the issue with Mom, tiptoeing around the awkwardness. To my shock, she'd been mulling it over too and had a plan. She dashed to the drugstore, returning with an ice bag and a small plastic pouch. I cringed at the thought of exposing myself, but necessity trumped embarrassment. Following her instructions, I stripped from the waist down, sat on the bed's edge, and raised my legs. The ice bag's chill made me flinch, and holding it there felt like a bizarre, humiliating stunt. Mom had explained the process manipulating my anatomy to mimic a girl's, but knowing didn't ease the discomfort. She worked quickly, her hands steady, and soon declared it done. Standing, I glanced down, stunned. I looked like a girl. "Allie, test it in the bathroom," Mom said. "The stream should go straight down. If not, tell me." It worked perfectly, and I pulled on my panties, grinning. Mom left, and I dressed, feeling lighter, more complete. A month later, Samantha and her mom moved in. By then, I'd adjusted to my new anatomy, confidently trying shorts, tight jeans, even a swimsuit. With careful hip padding, no one could tell I wasn't a girl, and that certainty fueled my femininity. Samantha and I grew inseparable, her casual acceptance grounding me. Once, changing in her room, I stood naked, my breast forms glued on, my groin mirroring hers. Only my hips betrayed me, but she didn't blink. School loomed, but I no longer feared passing. Mom and I curated my wardrobe: skirts, blouses, jeans, a few dresses, sweaters, and shoes, readying me for the fall. We visited Dad weekly, his blank gaze a quiet ache. Mom always left crying, knowing he'd never come home. Natalie was transferred to a distant prison, and I wouldn't see her for over a year. My full transition came later, after I turned older, but by then, I was a girl in every way that mattered. At school, I caught the eye of Ryan, a towering blonde who made me feel tiny but cherished. His kindness drew me in, and I relished our time together. Mom met someone too, a man who reignited her spark, banishing her loneliness. Years ago, when being a girl was just a dream, I'd clung to the hope of eventually. Now, I was Catherine, letting Ryan's touch spark new feelings, awakening me to womanhood in fleeting, electric moments. After graduation, Mom remarried, her joy radiant. I enrolled in nursing school, carving my path. Natalie, shockingly, married Troy, her prison pen pal turned husband, a twist no one saw coming. Dad passed during my first college year, his absence a dull weight. Natalie, hardened by prison, seemed a decade older. Life is relentless, ready to grind you down unless you chase your truth. I did, and I won, or so I thought. One crisp fall evening, as I walked home from class, a letter slipped under my door. No sender, just my name in sharp, unfamiliar script. Inside, a single line. "Allie, I know who you were. Meet me at the old oak by the river, midnight, or everyone else will know too." My pulse raced. The past I'd buried Chris, the boy I'd left behind, was clawing its way back. Who knew? Troy, bitter and vengeful? A classmate from my old school? Or someone closer, watching all along? I stood frozen, the weight of my new life teetering. Midnight was hours away, and the oak, isolated and shadowed, promised answers or ruin. I had to go, but fear whispered I might not walk away the same.